Are we rolling? What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Front Porch Turkey Talk. I'm your host, none other than Mr. Brett Barnes. Today, we're going to be joined by Mr. Brandon Masters. Today's topic is going to be, when is the best time to hunt turkeys? We're going to break this down into seasonal, time of day, and early season versus late season. So guys, sit back, relax, stay in tune as we dive in to when is the best time to hunt turkeys. All right, guys, let's jump straight in to seasonal, because that's going to be a quick one for us. You got fall season.
There are some states that allow you to hunt turkey in the fall, but I have never done it in the fall. So I can't tell you if it's fun or not.
And spring season. Seasonal is really opinionated to what type of turkey hunting you like to do. We prefer spring turkey hunting because we like all the gobbling action, the mating rituals, being able to interact with the animal through calling, and all the things that go on during the spring. Now let's go over early season versus late season. Early season, you're gonna get a lot more gobbling. This is when the breeding action is just starting to happen. Gobblers are looking for hens that are ready and willing to breed. Maybe that made sense. Gobbling trends suggest that the gobbling does decline as the season progresses. So this means you may not get as much gobbling action, but it doesn't mean that you can't be just as successful, if not more so, in late season. A lot of this is depending on pressure, the properties that you're hunting, and how pressured it are, how pressured that it is, whether that be hunting pressure, predator pressure, whatever. The more they gobble, obviously, the predators are able to find them. Throughout the season, you know, they tend to quieten down a little bit more, but they're still going to be looking for those hens that either lost a nest and is still receptive to breed, or those lonesome hens still looking for a mate. So to answer that question, when is the best time to hunt versus early season to late season, there's not really, in my opinion, a better time, mainly because early season, they seem to be a little bit more apt to cooperate, but in late season, you can find a lonesome gobbler that's just ready and willing. He'll show up pretty quick, but you will run into those cases or those scenarios where that gobbler has been either shot at or has been called up and busted the hunter and plainly just being educated, and they won't come that last few 60, 70 yards, 100 yards, whatever it may be, to close the gap. They'll stay out in their safety zone, basically, and gobble and wait for that hen to come to them. So both times are a really good time to hunt turkey. You can't go wrong early or late season. It does get a little bit tougher in our experience as the season progresses, but if you get one to open up, you have a good chance to be successful. All right, let's go into time of day. Morning on roost and after fly down. Midday from that 9 to 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock lull, and afternoon or around roost or fly up time. These topics we can dive a little bit deeper into more details and breaking it down as far as time of day and the best time of day to be successful for you and your hunting style. Early mornings on roost.
If you've got a bird located in the morning, typically what happens is they're going to gobble because they're separated. The hens and the toms are separated. That's what the gobble is all about. He gobbles in order to get the hens to come to him. First thing in the morning, he's probably going to gobble a pretty good bit if it's one of the days to where they're wanting to gobble. So typically, high barometric pressure, humidity days, typically they're going to gobble more often. Generally, they're going to stay within their flock for a couple of hours at least. Sometimes this may be 2 hours, it may be 4 hours, it may be 6 hours. At the end of the day, you're on their time, so they're the ones that get to dictate what happens and when it happens. After they've gathered together, they're generally going to do their morning routines. They're going to get down, they're going to have their morning spell, they're going to find them something to eat, they're going to find them something to drink. This is the time to where most of the toms are going to be strutting, they're going to be drumming, they're going to be showing out for all the ladies, trying to get them to that point to where they're ready to breed. In this time frame, most of the time, it's hard to call a tom off of the real thing. There's no better competition for a turkey hunter than a real live hen.
Have you roosted that bird? If you have and you're set up, I typically like to stay 60 to 100 yards off, 100 to 150 being more preferable to me. I don't like to get in too tight, too close. Mainly because if I'm in 50, 60 yards, I'm not sitting there making any calling on the ground, okay, because he can see me. Also, if he flies down, it's pretty much a one-shot thing. It's 50-50 chance. Is he going to pitch towards me? Is he going to pitch away? What's he going to do? Is he going to pitch clear out of sight 100, 250 yards. Obviously, some of this depends on terrain, depends on your setup. I don't like to get in too tight, too close, so I can keep some curiosity there with a little bit of calling and just be able to more or less read the situation better than just getting in tight and hoping that he pitches in my direction. So let's say you got in tight, he pitches down, boom, it's over, 6 o'clock, 6:20. That is very, very rare in my experience. Most of the time, they never pitch my way. But it does happen. Now, in the mornings, you can encounter a lonesome gobbler that doesn't have hens all around him, or you can encounter a gobbler that's got hens with him. If he's got hens with him, he's gonna wait for them to fly down. Normally, they'll come basically to the base of his tree. That's why he's gobbling. That's what the gobbling is for, is to bring hens to him. He flies down, he starts strutting and doing his thing with his hens, and they, as a flock, are naturally going to go where they go every day. Now, if there's several gobblers in that flock, you could possibly call a less subordinate bird off to come check you out or something like that. That being said, if you've done your homework, you know where the turkey naturally go every day, you can set up and be in that general direction that they're going to be. For us, it's typically we like to be on the same ridge with them or up higher than they are, and they're easier to work in that manner, either down the ridge or up the hill to us. Keeping that curiosity and things like that within your setup. Now we're gonna do a whole separate video on setup, so we'll get into that in a later video. So let's just say they fly down, they flock up, they pretty much get quiet and they go their direction. What is your next option here? Well, your next option is to hang tight. You might have piqued the curiosity of a lone gobbler that's not allowed pretty much to be in this flock. It may be somewhere close nearby that's not gobbling, mainly because out of hierarchy, and he's not allowed to, so he's kind of off by himself or whatever, and he may come in silent, or he may even open up come that midday or mid-morning. So I like to hang tight for a little while and basically just kind of see how the morning's going to unfold. And I like to be patient in my hunting and not get too run and gunnish, as most of the kids are doing these days. Patience and soft calling has always paid off more for me. Learn to be patient in the turkey woods. You'll find a lot more success from it. So in that midday, I have found, mid-morning, midday, whatever you want to call it, I have found a lot of success in it. Just being patient, hanging out in the woods to that 10, 11 o'clock time range. Not just sitting still, guys. Doing some walking, soft calling, acting like turkey. Learning how to cluck and purr on your mouth calls, doing the softer calls, the whines, the wee-woos, things like that, as you're kind of walking, scraping the leaves, sounding like turkey. More times than not have I been walking through the woods in that 9, 10, up to 12 o'clock range, sounding like turkey, and then stopping and doing a yelping sequence or yelping and cutting sequence, imitating a hen that's saying, hey, there's any gobblers that's close to me, and then he'll hit it. And in that moment and in that time frame span of the morning, for me, it happens pretty quick. When he gobbles, he's pretty much coming. So you want to make sure before you call and go through that yelping or cutting searching sequence that you pretty much have a setup picked out in that moment. That if he hits it, I'm sitting down and I can get set up. But if he hits it, a lot of times he's gonna show up fairly quick. Him and maybe his brothers.
So at this point, you've pretty much fulfilled a turkey's entire day, or a flock's entire day. They've done what they need to do in the morning, they've done what they need to do mid-afternoon. Pretty much the only other thing that you've got to look forward to is the evening leading up to roost. The hens are doing their things, the toms are doing their things, trying to find different hens that are willing to breed. If you're hunting public land, I know here in Alabama we have a 1 o'clock rule. You can't hunt them after 1 p.m. But what you can do is still go out there in the evenings. You can still hoot or coyote yelp or whatever you want to do to try to locate that bird for the next morning that you go. The more time you can spend doing your homework, the more time you can spend trying to nail down their patterns, the better opportunity that you have to get in front of a bird within that time set where you can legally hunt them. Be fully expecting at this time to have a silent bird work in. Most of the time in the afternoon, he's not going to gobble his head off like he does in the morning. Be listening for that drum. We've got a few videos out there that explains that really well. Know what it sounds like because it'll be your best friend. That's the telltale sign when he's close. If you can hear that, you better be cock locked and ready to rock.
And a lot of times if you're sitting down and you hear one gobble in the afternoons, mainly he's going to gobble right before he flies up, a time or two, to basically just say, hey, I'm over here in this area, come join me. And that's usually what those courtesy gobbles in the afternoon are for. Then they'll fly up on roost and they'll gobble on roost in the afternoons, mainly trying to locate hens, other gobblers in the area, things like that, to just kind of communicate. That's what they're doing, is communicating. So that's pretty much a whole day of turkey hunting. As far as when is the best time, that's going to depend on the style of hunting that you're looking for. That's going to depend on basically what the turkeys are doing that day. For me, I've had the most success from that 9 o'clock to 11, 12 o'clock time frame. Very few turkeys have I harvested before 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, but it does happen. But more times than not, for me, the mid-morning, midday stuff has been very successful. That being said, I'm not saying don't go out early morning. I'm not saying don't go out in the afternoons if your state allows you to hunt in the afternoons. I'm saying if you're a turkey hunter and you love it, all day long. Be there all day long. That's what I prefer to do. I prefer to be there all day long, be present in that moment, and be patient and act like turkey, and this will bring you a lot more success. So the best time of day to hunt turkey, for me, it's that mid-morning. I hope this helps, guys, and if you want to know any more about scenarios, time of day, to break those time of days down a little bit more in depth, please let us know in the comment section below. Like I said, we're going to have a video on setups coming pretty soon. We had a viewer request a video on basically what's in our turkey vest. So me and Brandon will probably do a video on what's in our turkey vest and why. If anything in this video helped, please hit that. If anything in this video helped, please hit that thumbs up button. Smash that subscribe button to follow along for some more Front Porch Turkey Talks. Thank you to Mr. Brandon Masters for joining us today on the tailgate.
I hope this helps, guys. If you will, please, if you enjoyed this video, please go like and subscribe. It helps us tremendously for you to like and subscribe. If you like what you're seeing, if you have any questions for us, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. We'll get to them and try to help you out.
And we'll see you guys next time on another Front Porch Turkey Talk.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Harmony Game Calls, custom handmade game calls. You can find us on the web at www.harmonygamecalls.com.